But you talked about some way of starting your virtual meetings that do help people connect. And I wonder if you could share how you do that.
Yes, it is a very, very simple question, but I have found to be interestingly incredibly effective at just sort of bringing the whole self into the room. And the question, and if anyone who's watching this who's been in a meeting with me is like, yes, we know that question so well. And the question is just generally a round of introductions when you're doing those to ask, your name, your affiliation, and then how are you arriving today? Just how are you arriving as a whole human, as your whole self? How are you coming into the space? And what I found is that when people answer that question, it's creating a window for them to really be able to just name the tension or the stress or the anxiety or whatever that they're holding in that moment, and to sort of lay it out and not to have to hold it all by themselves, because now the whole group has heard it and is now holding it. The other thing that it's doing is it's also creating this really beautiful invitation for empathy to come into the room. Because as you're sharing what you're dealing with, what you're managing, what you might be worried or stressed about, there's a good chance that one or two of those items is something that I'm also managing, addressing, potentially worrying about. And even if I don't know you, I automatically now feel a little more connected to you because I know that we are both sort of dealing with something similar. And I think prior to the pandemic, I was trying to do that, and now that everything is virtual, it's just sort of like almost like my own personal requirement before we dive into whatever the business of the day is.
Mm. So, how are you arriving?